Hare Hare.
Shri Radha Govinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Okay, we start with today chapter 15. It is Purushottama Yoga. So in this chapter we are going to this all chapter is about trying to moving out from material world to the spiritual world by detachment and total surrender to Lord Krishna. Then we will appreciate Krishna's position as supreme controller, maintainer of the whole world, the whole universe. Then he is going to talk about Vedakrit and Vedavit, is the summary of Vedanta and Vedas. And then also we'll know Krishna and we will seek his shelter. This is yoga of the supreme person. He is Purushottama. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavanuvāca urdhvamūlamadh shākham ashvattham prāhuravyayam chamdāmsi yasya parnāni yastam veda savedavit.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas."
This is the tree you can see in the picture. The entanglement, complete entanglement of material world is compared here to this banyan tree, you know. Urdhvamula. Urdhvamula is the root of the tree. The root of the tree is above and branches are down. You can see in the reflection. Branches are down. Ashwatham means banyan tree. So the tree of this material world is a reflection of the real tree, the tree that you are seeing. So this it is a reflection of what? It's the reflection of the real tree in the spiritual world. The real tree is in the spiritual world. What we are actually saying is the reflection. Just as tree's reflection is situated on water, the material reflection of spiritual world is situated on desire. Everything is on desire. And no one knows where it begins, where it ends. So this reflected tree is nourished by the three modes of material nature. What are the three modes of material nature? Yesterday we did.
Mode of goodness, mode of compassion, mode of ignorance.
Excellent. The twigs are the objects of senses. For one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to this banyan tree. He will wander from branch to branch, to another branch, to another branch. And on these branches of this mysterious tree, these souls will keep on going up and down from lifetime to lifetime. There is no end to this desire. Chamdansi means Vedic hymns. Chamdansi yasya parnani means these Vedic hymns are for what? To elevate ourselves. So that is, these are the leaves. The leaves are called the Vedic hymns. So if we want to disentangle ourselves from the tree, what do we have to do? We have to cut it. So what is the weapon to cut it? Weapon is detachment. And what do we do after detaching? We attach ourselves to the Krishna or Supreme Lord. So the tree of this material world, such a nice metaphor, you know. The tree of this material world has no end. For the one who is attached to the tree, you cannot liberate yourselves. You cannot free yourselves. You are attached to the tree. You have to detach yourselves. The tree's roots grow upwards because they begin from where Brahma is located. You can see the arrow in the picture. Brahma is located on the roots. That's from where it starts. And then it goes down, right? The topmost planet of this universe. If we can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then we can get out of it. The roots, Brahma is sitting on it. And from there, it goes down. We have to cut that desire tree. So Krishna, what is he using? He's using the metaphor here, as I told you. He's using that upside down Ashwatha tree to explain what Veda is. It is the way. It is how the Veda has came to be. So the Ashwatha tree, it is considered. It's like a banyan tree, right? Ashwatha is a sacred fig tree. So it is considered to have its root in Brahma, divine Brahma, and then trunk is growing downwards slowly. You can see in the picture. The trunks are growing down and with many branches spreading out. You can see the branches. You can see the leaves also. So on the branches, what you can see, the souls, all they are wandering up and down. Lifetime after a lifetime. Can any kind of soul, all the living entities. And each leaf, you can see on each leaf, it is Veda mantra. And if you understand that mantra, you can cross the tree through your consciousness. You upward, slowly through the branches, you are going up the trunk. Now you are reaching the root until you find divine. You have to cut that. Ashwatha, tree of knowledge, it is thus known as the search for the divine. So there is a river in between, the desire, the river, the desire river. You have to come up till the root near Brahma, then cross the desire river. And who is there on the opposite side?
Krishna.
Yes, Radha Krishna. So we have to reach there. That's what we have to do. We have to cut this tree. We are on this branches. Slowly we should move up near Brahma. Then we have to cross this river of desire and go to Krishna. That's what it says. Adhashchodhvam prasatatasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravala adhashcha mulani anusantatani karma anubandhini manushya-loke. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mataji, I was on mute.
Okay.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
So to see the description of this banyan tree in the picture, you can see the banyan tree on the top. There is Lord Krishna, then Brahma, right? And it's going down. So it is further explained. So branches are spreading in all the directions. In the lower parts, there is like variegated manifestations of human beings. You have animals, you have horses, cows, dogs, you name it, you have it. So these are situated on the lower parts of the branches. Whereas on the upper parts, on the higher levels, you will find higher forms of living entities like demigods, Gandharvas, Yakshas, like, higher species of life. So the normal tree, how do we take care of normal tree? It is nourished by water, right? So this tree, how is this tree nourished? It is nourished by three modes of material nature. All the three modes are there, ready to pounce upon us. We have to get away from that and move upwards. Na rupamasye tathopalabhyate nanto na chadirna cha sapratishtha ashwattamenam suvirudhamulam asanga shastrena dridena chitva tatah padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatah pravrittif prasata purani.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. So doing, one must seek that place from which, having once gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead from whom everything has begun, and in whom everything is abiding since time immemorial.
It's very clearly stated over here. It's the real form of banyan tree cannot be understood in this material world. We cannot understand because root is upwards, extension of the real tree is at other end. It's very difficult to imagine, right? So when we are entangled in this material expansion of the tree, we cannot see how far this tree has extended, nor can we see the beginning of the tree also. It's that big. It has no end. Na anta, it has said. Nanto na chadina. There is no ant because it is unlimited. There is no beginning as well. Because it has no beginning, it has no foundation. Foundation is sampratishtha. There is no foundation to it. You don't know. You cannot understand what it is because we don't have the real knowledge. We lack the real knowledge. But if we understand this knowledge, and the knowledge being detachment, it is a weapon with which we can cut down the tree. The moment we cut down the tree, we will, and first of all, we will understand the cause. What is the cause? Why are we suffering here? Then it makes sense, right? To cut down the tree. First, we understand the knowledge. Knowledge is what is happening here? Why are we in this material? What is the cause of this mess? We understand. Next is detachment. That's the weapon. Once we have the weapon in our hand, what do? We cut the tree with that detachment, right? So that we can find out what is at the base of the root. So asanga. Asanga means here, suvirudha moolam, asanga shastrena. So asanga here means detachment. Detachment is complete renunciation. So what is the weapon? Asanga is detachment. Having cut down with the acts of detachment, we must separate ourselves. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original root from whom everything has come into this universe. To gain favor, to gain Krishna's favor, what do we have to do? Surrender. If something is not in our hands, you have to surrender. You have to leave it. You have to let go. And then what else you can do? Devotional service. Whatever is in our hands, we should do. What is in our hands? Devotional service. We can hear, we can chant, right? We know he is the cause of the extension of this whole material world. We know that. This has already been explained before by Lord himself, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the origin of everything. He has told before also. So to get out of this entanglement, what do we have to do? It's a very strong banyan tree. It's not something that you just pull it and it will come out. It's a very strong banyan tree. So it's very difficult to get out of that attachment. So we have to surrender to Krishna. As soon as we surrender to Krishna, what will happen? We will automatically become detached from this material extension. And that is the aim. Na tad bhasayate suryah na shashanko na pavakah yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama.
That abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world.
You should go to Krishna Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. Krishna is nicely small, in small 2 sentences is describing his abode, how it is. Come to my kingdom, it is self-luminous. You will not need anything, you don't need a sun, don't need moon, you don't need fire. Nothing is required to light it up there. In the material realm where we are living right now, full of Maya, full of defects, full of dualities. Whereas in divine realm, Krishna's realm, created by Yoga Maya, it is transcendental, it is perfect, it is calm, it is serene. You won't have this misery at all, right? Sat Chit Anand, full of bliss, full of knowledge, and full of eternity, right? Full, it's eternal, is eternal. So Lord Krishna is assuring Arjuna over here that souls who attain him reside eternally with him in Krishna Lok, Golok Vrindavan, supreme abode, which is perfect in every way, right? You can see the picture, Golok Vrindavan, so beautiful. Everybody is happy. Devotees are free to chant. They are away from this samsara of cycle of life and death. Away from all this. It's so, so, so beautiful over there. You can see how beautiful, you can see he is describing his divine abode, see, which is self-luminous. You don't need a sun, you don't need a moon, you don't need a fire. Everything is perfect. You will feel so good living there. Come back. Mame vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal, fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
So that is what Mame Vamshu. Mama means my. Ansh. You are my Ansh. You are my fragmental particle. Jiva Loke in this world of conditioned life. Jiva Bhuta is like conditioned living beings, right? Entities. Sanatana, eternal. Manashasthani Indriyani. Mana means mind, right? Shashtha means six. Indriyani means senses. Prakritisthani, material nature. And sthani means situated. Karshati, struggling. You're struggling so hard. The living entities, all we living beings, not only human beings, but cats, dogs, even greater controllers of material world, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Vishnu, all are part and parcels of Supreme Lord. They are all eternal, right? Not temporary manifestations of what? Karshati means we are struggling. We are struggling very hard. That word is very important. Karshati. The conditioned soul, we are all conditioned souls, right? And look at the picture, the sparks. The main fire is God, Krishna. And the small, small sparks, it's all we, living entities, conditioned beings. We are all bound up. We are bound by, shackled by iron chains. And we are bound up by false ego. We have false ego, right? And the mind is the chief agent of that. It is driving. We suddenly get ego problems in this material existence. So when the mind is in mode of goodness, what happens? We are very nice. The activities are very good. When it is in the mode of passion, activities are little troublesome. And when it is in mode of ignorance, we totally go down into the lower species of life and talk rubbish. In previous verse, what did Krishna explain? He was saying the perfected souls who find him, they go to his Golok Vrindavan, right? Never to return back to this material world. In this verse, what is he saying? He says those who remain in this world are also his amsha only, his part, fragmental part only. They are also my amsha only, he's saying. So God manifests in two forms. One is Vishnu Tattva, his personal expansion, like Lord Rama, Lord Narsimha Deva, Vishnumurti, all those predominating deities, right? Those who are in Vaikuntha planets. And second one is another separated expansion, which is we, living entities, conditioned souls, Nitya Baddha souls, like we are Nitya Baddha souls. Baddha means conditioned. We are in conditioned form. We are all eternally, we are servants of Lord, eternal servitors, we can call. So we are individual soul, right? And God has given us little independence to act. He has given. But what happens? As soon as we get little independence, we are misusing it. We misuse and we become a conditioned soul. But he says, by proper use of our independence, we will become liberated. So what is Lord Krishna saying? He said, Vibhin Ansh Nitya Baddha, means Nitya Baddha is we are all conditioned souls. We are bound by material nature. Once we are bound by material nature, these souls, we conditioned souls, we are struggling by the six senses, including the mind, five senses plus one mind. So six senses. It's very difficult, he says, to remain here. You are my amsha only, but I understand because the six senses are really created and you're struggling. Karshati, you're struggling in this life. So now he explains what happens when soul moves from one body to another upon death, right? What happens to the mind and senses? It's going to tell. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati shvaraha grihitvaitani sanyati vayurgandhani vashayat.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
You can see in the picture how it is like. Here, Lord Krishna is explaining. He gave the example of a breeze. He is comparing with the breeze, air, explaining the process of transmigration of the soul from one body to another body. So similar to the breeze, which carries the fragrance of flowers, when the air is moving, and if there are very nice flowers over there, it will carry the aroma to the next place. Similarly, upon death of this body, the soul also carries with it. What does it carry? The subtle and causal bodies, senses, mind, it goes along with it. That's what it is explained over here. We can see in a picture. Shotram chakshusparshanam cha rasanam granam eva cha adhishthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, and nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
So here you see, if living entity pollutes or impures his consciousness with qualities of like cats, dogs, what will he become in next life? If he gets cat and dog body, right? And he enjoys in that body, then whatever you are going to pollute your consciousness with, that is what you're going to become. So actually, consciousness is very pure. It's like water. But if we suppose you put some color in the water, it will change, right? Similarly, conscious is pure, soul is pure, but consciousness is changed according to the association with these material qualities. We become tamasic, we become rajasic, we become sattvic accordingly. Real consciousness is what? Krishna consciousness. That's the real one. But what happens if we are situated in Krishna consciousness? We will get pure life. But if consciousness is mixed or adulterated with some kind of material mentality, then we'll get that kind of body, right? He does not necessarily get human body again. It's very rare to get a human body. You have to do a lot of good things to get into a human body. You can again get back into a body of a cat or a dog or a donkey or a hog. If you do very good things, you can become a demigod also. Or many of the so many forms, right? You have 8,400,000 species, 400,000 species. You can become any of it. Depends on what you are going to do in this life. Ukramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudhananupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
Jnana chakshushaha. Jnana chakshushaha is knowledge, right? Very significant. Without knowledge, we cannot even understand how we have left this present body, what form of body we are going to get in next life, why are we living in this particular kind of body, what is the purpose, how to develop spiritual knowledge, right? We have to see that spirit soul is different from the body and it is going to change its body, right? And it will enjoy in different ways, right? Ignorant will be like this man in here. He's a newbie car mechanic, you can say. So the example is being over here, giving over here that newbie mechanic, he has come to see how does a car move. He looks at the movement of the wheels. He traces back to accelerated. Okay, you have an accelerator, you have a steering wheel, and you have an ignition switch. Then he starts making his conclusion. Okay, these are the parts which will make the car move. But he missed the important point over here. What's the important part over here? Who starts the ignition? Who will move the steering wheel? Somebody has to do it. Just because these parts are there, okay, the car is going to move. That's not the right knowledge. Unless there is a driver who can operate the car, it will not move. So only someone who has acquired spiritual knowledge will understand that it is the soul who is driving the whole body. It is the soul which is giving life to the body. Without the soul, body is lifeless. Person dies. The material parts of the body, the heart, brain, lungs, whatever, arms, limbs, everything, they are there, but they don't function. Why? Because soul has left the body. Consciousness is an indication. It's a symptom that there is life in the body, that there is soul present in the body. When the soul is gone, consciousness is finished. It ends. Only those who have acquired the eyes of knowledge, jnana chakshusha, can understand this phenomena. Others don't. Ignorance won't. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyantatmanyavasthitam yatantopyakritatmano nainam pashyantya chetasaha. Hare Krishna.
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry. Hare Bhavan.
Somebody else can read.
Sorry, Mother, my mom was talking. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try.
Yeah. So what Lord Krishna is saying now, only getting some knowledge, acquiring knowledge is not sufficient. It must also be put in the right direction, proper direction. What is the common flaw in human being? We tend to use our material senses to understand God. We try to use our brain. Let's use our brain. Let's try. We want to decide the correctness, the faults in knowledge. This might be not right. We try to use our intellect, which has only worldly but no experience of the divine. We believe things that cannot be perceived by the mind and senses means they do not exist. I cannot see, I cannot understand means that thing is not existing. That's not true, right? And mind has this natural tendency, it will reject the things that do not fit into the frame of our belief. Our belief system does not agree, that does not exist. I do not understand. I do not believe in it. Scientists are also humans, right? They are also doing the same thing. They also say these things don't exist. Who are they? They are not divine people, right? They are humans only. So they also willingly believe facts that cannot be explained by current theory. It will not exist now. That doesn't exist. So at present, this time nowadays, scientists still look upon this telepathy that happens, right? They think it is illusion. Srila Prabhupada, in many of his lectures that I have heard, he has mentioned these thinking scientists and philosophers like Dr. Frog philosopher, he states. He says, Kupa Mandaka Nyaya, Kupa Mandaka Nyaya, logic of the well frog. It is like a frog, who is living within the walls of his well, unaware of what the world is outside. This is what Srila Prabhupada explains. He says, once it was told to him that the ocean is very huge, the well frog said, oh, is it 5 times bigger than my well? No, 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 no. It is much, much bigger than your well. It is gigantic. The frog from the well did not believe it. He said, you are a liar. How can there be any place that can be bigger than my well? No, 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 no. So the frog in the well has been living there for his whole life. He has not seen anything beyond that walls of the well. So naturally, his mind could not even comprehend the idea that there is something called ocean and that is vast and that is beyond his limit. He could not even understand that there is a world that exists out of the well. Similarly, scientists, the materialistic people, we cannot perceive the idea of eternal soul. Because we have not seen, it does not exist. We don't know. Due to the limited experience, or they don't have spiritual knowledge, right? So they cannot see, they cannot understand that this entire spiritual universe is beyond the understanding of our intellect, at least. We cannot comprehend also. So only those who are walking on the path of spirituality, those who have cleansed their heart, purified their hearts with humility, they have a lot of faith. With a cleansed mind, what will happen? Naturally, you will experience the present. You will start feeling it inside. It is all, everything is inside. People say everything is outside. See the face, see the color, see the feature. No, everything is inside. Then you start experiencing the presence of the soul. Then slowly the knowledge of scriptures will start dawning upon you, and everything will start becoming little by little clearer to you. So what is the best path? Just be cool-headed, be submissive devotee to the Lord. Try to hear about the Lord. Like right now we are hearing about the Lord. You should go to a bona fide spiritual master, listen, go serve him, serve the Lord, do devotional services, and as suggested in the previous verse also, right? Now in the next verse, what will he say? He will talk about existence of God. Gama Vishya Bhutani Dharayamyah Mojasa Pushnami Chaushadi Sarvaha Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
Gama. Gama here means earth. And Ojasa. Ojasa is energy. So Lord Krishna is, what is he saying? He created this universe. And he created this earth, which is energy. We sometimes wonder why this ocean water is so salty. God could have made ocean water like fresh water, right? Full of fresh water. It would have become a big breeding ground for diseases. So why? Because due to high salt content of the ocean water, many disease-causing microorganisms cannot survive there. So it protects life. Similarly, so many amazing things are there around in this universe, right? On this earth. It has made inhabitable to variety of species, both movable and non-movable living entities. One of the scientists said that, that if anybody, any one of the considerable numbers of physical properties of this universe were there, other than the life that we are leading right now, and if it would not have been there, then life over here would have been impossible. Whatever God has made, He made it so perfect according to what we need. If He would have made something different, the life here would not have been possible, or here or anywhere else also. He is perfect in what He creates. He also says that moonlight also gets its nourishing properties from God, from Krishna. Its subjuice. It gives the juice of life to all vegetables. It nourishes entire plant life. And because of his ambrosial nectar, the nectar of the moonlight, it nourishes entire life, plant life, vegetables, grains, everything, whatever is there. So the whole human society is living very comfortably. Why? Because of the supply that we are getting from Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind would not be able to survive. Here is written there. Somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Rasatmaka means what? Everything becomes delicious, palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord. What is the agency? The moon. Everything is being helped by the sun, by the moon. Everything is created by Him. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktaha Pacham Ayannam Chaturvidham.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
Four kinds of food stuff. He is the fire. Vaishvanara, the fire of digestion. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. So I am inside all living beings as Vaishvanara, means fire of digestion. How is it ignited? It is ignited by the power of God, right? Scientific community has different ways of telling. They will say, oh, we have organs, digestive system. I've also done biology. So they will talk about pancreas, stomach, liver, gallbladder. They secrete, digestive juices, and this enables the digestion, blah, 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 in all living beings. But the revelation of God over here in this shloka, it reveals very clearly, and it suggests that such a thinking of scientists is naive. It's very naive, very Krish. It is God's energy which fires up the digestive process in living beings. That's what it states in this shloka here. Chaturvidham. Chaturvidham means four ways, four types of pacham annam. It is going to, pacham means digest, and annam means the grains, right? So four kinds of grains it helps to digest. What are the four types? One is like something you can chew upon, bhojya, like bread, chapati, whatever you chew. Then second one is that you can drink, like peya, liquid, semi-liquid, milk, water, whatever juices. Then the third one is that you can suck. So what can you suck? Koshya, like sugar cane, whatever you can take the juice out of it by sucking. Then the fourth one is that can be licked by a tongue, like honey. You can lick honey. It's called leya. So that kind. So Lord Krishna has clarified how God is supporting every aspect of our life. In every aspect of our life, God is supporting us. What? How? With His energy. He's making this earth a place to stay, habitable, where we can live comfortably. He's nourishing all the vegetation, plants, grains, everything. He's even igniting the gastric fire inside to digest our food. He's written in this shloka. What other proof do we need? And in the next verses, he will say he's the master of all the knowledge. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattasmrite jnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
You can see in the picture how they are cooking. Paramatma is there in everyone. So he is very clearly stated, I am seated in everyone's heart. So we should look, when we look at each other, we should be able to see Paramatma in each other. So in this verse, what Krishna is saying, he is in all our hearts, right? And he goes on to add that he has given this amazing ability of memory and knowledge, remembrance and knowledge, right? Memory and knowledge. It's like mind and the intellect. The mind and the intellect are the software of computer, and the brain is like hardware. Yet this mechanism of brain is way beyond human understanding. We don't understand how it works. Although there is so much of advancement, so much of development in technology, there are many areas where even scientists and scientific community, they are still struggling to find out, they are the brain surgeons, they are performing brain surgeries. They transplant brain also, right? But they do not completely understand the functions. Then there is something called face recognition technology that has come. So they can recognize. But as far as human beings are concerned, it is so remarkable, right? When we can easily recognize somebody even after many years, and yes, the face features have also a little bit changed. It has grown. Still, we say, "Oh, you are that," right? We recognize. God has given us amazing memory power so that we can remember that also, right? Remembrance, he has given us knowledge. And present day, you know what? These computers are there where we have to show our faces also. Sometimes it doesn't recognize. It says, no, cannot recognize. But the human brain, it's such a mystery, right? Supreme Lord has created that mystery. And Lord Krishna is saying, he has also given us power of forgetful. Smritir Gyan Mapohanam Cha. Means he has made sure that we forget also. We forget what is in the past. Thank God we forget. Otherwise, we'll go mad thinking about the past. So similar to how, you have unwanted records on your computer and you delete it from the computer. You don't want it, you delete it. Living beings wipe off unwanted memories. Otherwise, what will happen? The information will be overloaded. So other than this internal knowledge that we have or we carry, there is another source of knowledge. What is that? Outside knowledge, scripture, Vedas. So in this verse, Krishna is saying, Vedanta krit veda videva chaham, Vedeshta sarvai rahameva vedyo. He's saying he is the creator, he is the knower, he is the writer of all the Vedas. He specifically mentioned that he is the author of Vedanta. Vedanta Krit. Vedanta Krit means he is the author of Vedanta. And Vedanta Vid. Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. Vedanta Vid means he is the knower and the meaning of Vedas. Very clearly he has mentioned over here. He is the author of Vedanta and he is the knower, the meaning of Vedas also he knows. Eventually he says, although Vedas give us numerous instructions of how to live our life materially and spiritually, what is the final objective? The whole knowledge that we have right now is to know Krishna, to know Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purpose of these rituals, these ceremonies that we do, that are instructed in Vedas also, it is to lure people so that we can get away from this material world and go towards spirituality. That is the purpose actually. So they are acting like an intermediate step so that from our materialistic mindset, we move on to spiritualistic mindset towards God. That is the purpose of the whole Vedas. Dvavimau purushau loke sharashchakshara eva cha sharas sarvani bhutani kutastokshara uchyate.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible.
Lord Krishna says there are two kinds of people, right? Two kinds of beings. Kshara, Kshara, Akshara. Kshara means fallible, perishable. And Kshara means infallible or imperishable, not gone. So whoever is here in this material realm, they will go away, they will die. Perish means die. And those who are liberated, they will just go like that. They will be imperishable. They are infallible. All souls are, basically the soul is eternal, right? It cannot be burned, it cannot be cut, all that in this material realm. But what happens when we come over here, we are with the matter, the Maya is there, right? It binds the soul to the body. From tiniest insect to the demigod, Indra and whoever is there as demigod, all living entities are kshara, perishable. Everybody is perishable. And they have to go through the cycle of birth and death. Everyone. It is fallible, infallible. So we are all fallible. We all come under fallible. Uttamah purushastvanyah paramatmetyudaritah yo lokatrayamavishya vibhartyavyaya ishwarah.
Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord Himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them.
So Paramatma, Paramatmetyudahritaha. He is saying over here that Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Paramatma. What is Paramatma? It is a super soul. So there is an individual soul and there is super soul. So individual soul is very tiny. It is confined to this body, right? And it resides in the super soul is present inside living entity of, so every living entity there is Paramatma, super soul. Living entity, our individual soul is for my body only, not for any other body. But super soul is in every body. So he's the constant companion of individual soul in every life. Every life he will come along with us. For example, if you have taken birth, say a soul has got a dog's body. So what happens? The supreme soul will be inside that, right? With the individual soul. So how is it? Supreme soul continues to be inside and it will keep giving results based on soul's past deeds, past karmas, right? So this explains sometimes why some dogs have different destinies. Some are born on the streets, some live a very famished life, no food at all. They're lying on the street and dying in misery. Some live very comfortably. They are living in lavish mansions. They are sleeping on the bed. They get very good blankets to put upon, and they are sleeping next to the owner, living a very comfortable and luxurious life. This huge difference in destiny is due to the stockpile of karmas that we have, from previous births. So Supreme Soul accompanies the individual soul in various births, in different species also. It is, it will keep granting results based on the karma it has had. That's what it is explained here. Yasmat ksharamati aksharaadapi chottamah atosmi loke vede cha prathitah purushottamah.
Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
He has called himself Purushottama, supreme person. He called himself, right? Who transcends over this material world, which includes both infallible and fallible, kshar and akshar, perishable, non-perishable. Both are there. So he's above all that. So when we read over here Purushottama, supreme person, does that mean he has referred to and Lord Krishna as two different entities? No. Purushottama and Krishna are same. So to eliminate our doubt, what did he do? He has referred to himself as Aham. Yes, Yasmat Ksharamati to Ham, Aham. Aham Akshiradapi Chottama. Aham, I. Very clearly has referred. There should be no doubt about it. Let me eliminate your doubt. And he has referred to himself as, Lord Krishna said, Aham, which is very clearly said in first person, right? Aham. I do it. I am celebrated in both the worlds. You can see how all people are praying to him. They are all part and parcel of Lord only. Brahma, Shiva, everyone. Yo mamevam sammudho janati purushottamam sasarva vidavajati mam sarva bhavena bharata.
Whoever knows me as the supreme personality of Godhead, without doubting, is to be understood as the knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotion service, O son of Bharata.
So what is he saying here? Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, they say, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti shabdate. Very clearly he has said, the knowers of truth have stated that only one supreme entity, it manifests in three ways. We know very clearly, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. We know that these three are there. It does not mean that three are different entities. God is one. But these are only his manifestations. Like water will be existing in form of ice also, water also, and steam also. Does not mean it's not the same. They have different physical properties, but the form, the substance is same, right? Same. God is also existing in three forms: Brahman, the formless. Then you have omnipotent, Paramatma, all powerful in every living entity. And then we have Bhagavan, the omnipresent, the supreme personality of Godhead. Those who are following Jnana Yoga, they worship God as Brahman. Ashtanga Yoga, they try to worship Paramatma as Super Soul, who resides in the heart of every living creature here. So in this chapter, what Lord Krishna is trying to tell us is, he's describing all three forms, right? He's saying without doubt, it should be understood. So by which of them is most complete? We should understand over here in this verse, there is an answer. Whoever knows me as Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting, very clearly as stated. So he's saying those who know him, worship him as Bhagavan, they have complete knowledge of him. Any doubts? Because he's very clearly mentioning over here, right? I had given you the example of the bus also. When it is coming from very far, only headlights, you can see it is like Brahman. When it comes very close, you see people inside, then you say Paramatma. And when you see the driver and everything, the whole bus, okay, Bhagavan. So that's how it has been explained over here. So those who seek God as Bhagavan, they get complete knowledge of him. Why? He is a more personal form, his sweetest form among all his forms, right? He manifests as a person. You can imagine, when you close your eyes, you can see as something, right? So the devotees of Bhakti Yoga, they love this form and they want to immerse themselves in the loving bliss. As explained earlier, we had learned in chapter 12. Chapter 12, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Maya Veshamano Yemam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Eme Yukta Tamamataha. He had said, those who fix their mind on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, I consider them to be most perfect. Very clearly he has stated. Iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam maya nagha etat buddhva buddhimansya bharata.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
So now to conclude, he is very clearly saying iti. Iti means these. He's trying to imply, Arjuna, I have given here the gist of all the hidden knowledge of Vedic scriptures. Whatever is there, I have told you. So from the description of the nature of this world, differentiation between matter and spirit, I have explained everything, right? Finally, I have told you realization of absolute truth. What is absolute truth? About your own self, oneself, and about Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have told you everything. And I assure you, whoever will take up this knowledge, whoever will try to understand this knowledge, will truly become enlightened. Their deeds, their actions, whatever they are trying, will definitely be fruitful. Definitely. And it will take them to their ultimate goal. And ultimate goal is what? God realization. So, how to do that? Very simple: devotional service. Devotional service is what? It is a process, it's a path of spiritual understanding. Slowly, slowly, when we do that, what happens? The material contamination that we have inside will reduce, because devotional service and material contamination both cannot exist together. If devotional service is increasing, material contamination will go away. So devotional service to the Lord and Lord himself, they are not different, they're same only, because they're spiritual, right? So that is what Lord Krishna has explained in this chapter. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarupashya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Tomorrow we are going to learn about, in 16th chapter, two classes of beings. One is divine and one is having demonic qualities. So we will learn about that. So let's all do Hare Krishna together. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.